Hi. I've been writing poems. I'm gonna minimize this. It's very unsettling to look at your own face. I've been writing poems and I've been reading them in my head, and I've been thinking that it's kind of nice to hear poems out loud in the voice that I have in my head and not just look at them as words. Um, they have sounds. So I'm going to read some of the poems I wrote today because I like the way they sound as sounds. I'm a little bit loopy because I need to eat again. I only ate breakfast. It is now 4 o'clock and I had 2 eggs today, but it's okay. Deep, deep breaths while I am engaging in blasphemy, sitting here quietly in an inside space with this machine to take my words. The sun is bright and I have creatures to attend, and my mother always saying, "Have you seen your horse today? Have you seen your horse today?" As if it's the only thing she knows how to ask me, because goodness knows we do not talk about my feelings and how I am doing as a human. I do my best to throw spaghetti at the wall, to toss in stories of the people I love and what they are up to, as if it will extend a bridge to make her a part of my life. But neither of my parents are creatures I understand, and we talk at each other. The bewilderment is mutual. Anyway, I keep on trying. Anyway, what if I took space for myself, just me, no other creature? Shriek, 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 a little rumbling in my belly, even as the world seems a bit more quiet in a way I crave. On the one hand, I feel a slow relaxing. On the other, sirens. No, 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 no. Every time I talk with Zan and food comes up, I find myself ejecting phrases about how it's just at the bottom of my list. Have you seen your horse today? I read books on parenting to help me get a grip with how I treat my pets. I had a great phase of angst once about how I've been caring for adults and other creatures since before I even knew how not to lose my homework. And in grad school, I started to cry in that room with the boarded up fireplace where the squirrels scratched out secret messages and I slept by the drafty window. I cried that I couldn't take care of my horses and also me. And I cried that I was too scared to stop and breathe and learn how to take care of me because that'd be a good investment. But there's that little rumble in my belly and it gets me every time. Next thing, I'm out the door. Did you see your horse today? And I'll eat later. Me versus the rumble in my belly. It seems subtle, but that's because I'm well trained. I jump the moment it starts up. The longer I breathe here at the table, feeling a curious sense of relaxing that has to do with all these parts of myself that aren't the same as the creatures I tend to and love. The more the rumble growls and the shriek wail of, "How do I know that I need this?" It echoes. You must submit a doctor's note to stay home from school. You can't just take time for yourself. A guest lecturer once told me everything in her life was a break from everything else. Work was a break from her kids, and the kids were a break from work, so she had a round the clock schedule, but she didn't need downtime. I felt so guilty, and I started thinking being with my creatures is my break. I don't need anything else. I listen to other people talk about themselves and think, "Mm, darling, if you could forgive yourself I imagine it, and in my mind's eye, their stress dissipates. I need some time to do some types of being human, not all of which involve my creatures. And before I can use this time to do those things, I must first spend time feeling my own resistance, my own fear, my own guilt, my own desperation, frustration, fury, scarcity, inadequate. It's good to have high standards, but forgive myself for needing time. Forgiving myself for needing time takes time, compounding the issue. Oh, no. Forgive yourself more quickly then so you can get on with it. Reminds me of valuing rest only as something to help you work harder. Oh, oh, oh. I'm trembling as little waves rise up and down inside me. It is so, so easy for me to push myself. I feel like such a fragile thing. I feel like such a shattered thing trying to rest. I'm metaphorically jumping off a cliff of radically believing in myself and giving myself what I need, although I have a lot of judgments about how I shouldn't or don't really need that. Reminds me of being a kid watching friends on a bucking horse, or being the one being bucked, hearing, lean back, lean back, lean back. All of us yelling, I am. But we really curl forward in the fetal position, the hunch, the grab. It's an instinct, but it never helps. Nick, rest. Nick, rest. Nick, breathe. I am. But one eye on the clock thinking, you're squandering hours. And have you seen your horse today? No? Failure. Gulp, gulp. This is a complicated process, pulling me both ways. It's hard, and I forgive myself for that. I read this, and the thought that comes up is your life is not about you. It's not about you. It's not about you. Who the hell do you think you are? Your life is not about you. And I'm trying to wrap my arms around myself with gentle kindness and to whisper, even though I stick my fingers in my ears. Honey, honey, but it is. I think one of the walls between me and my parents is they got me all these creatures for myself. Like I can use them, like they're things. But I can barely see myself through my dependents. I serve them because they have nobody else but me. When I was a kid, I used to try to tell my parents, but it's hard. And they'd say, what is? This is. What? So that's poem number 1. How are we doing on time? 10 minutes. Oh my gosh. I never thought I'd write a poem that would take 10 minutes to read. Oh, oof. Well, let's just keep going. Alright, why not? and trying to help myself understand space for myself is not a dirty word, no need to panic. And trying to help myself understand that space for myself can be taken as needed and still fits into caring for all things. I had the thought, I can break my resistance. I will lock myself in my room, though it's springtime, and I won't come out until I've broken the idea that I can't stay inside. I'll waterboard my demons. It's okay to be inside sometimes. I'll lock you there until you learn. Let me help. I'll beat it into you. And in my mind, I crack my knuckles. A little bit excited thanks to the virtue I've associated with this violence. I'm not afraid to break your face. In fact, if it's necessary, I'll very much enjoy doing so. I followed the thought down, down, down past the images of blood, down past revulsion at this sick interrogation scene, down past the cheers of punch harder, all the way down to a small voice that says, I just want to be good. Poem number 3. And in my mind, I'm seeing me beat myself bloody, feeling the swelling of virtue and triumph that fills the idea of fists in my face, breaking my nose. I start crying, feeling compassion for the image of myself as the one who crumples, bludgeoned, saying softly, I just want to be good. Look at the innocent creature. It doesn't deserve it. How could you do such a thing? Genuine horror at the spectacle of seeps in around the happy glow of I will break your face with my fist until you learn, and then it will be better. Hope, 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 hope obscures all things, and authority. Somebody told me this was the right thing to do, and I've believed it for so long. I'm pleased to be crying. I zoom in on the scene. Another dark basement with a glaring naked yellow bulb. I see the blood on my face, all crusted. I've been so scared to come here. I've tried before, but I wanted somebody I love to hold my hand. I asked somebody once, but it drove us apart. He said it would just make me even more sad. And I remember his friend texting, doesn't scare me. Earlier today, I found myself staring again at the words, I want him to know he's not alone and I'm not going away. I want him to feel tethered to me and tethered to Zan and Kara, tethered to life by a web he can trust. I thought about me through somebody else's eyes, tethered to life by a web he can trust. I wrote the word tethered on my arm in script in purple ink and forgot. I snuggled my dog and saw it. Tethered. And doesn't scare me. And I'll break your face with my fist, it'll be better. And hope and hope and hope and hope and hope. And I just want to be good. A web he can trust. I want him to know he's not alone and I'm not going away. Doesn't scare me. These days, I feel so brave.